Michigan holds some of the creepiest abandoned places in America, from the haunted halls of Eloise Psychiatric Hospital and Traverse City State Hospital to ghost towns like Percheney and Fayette. Decaying factories, eerie orphanages, lighthouses, and cemeteries add to the chilling legends of restless spirits across the state. Now we will visit the most haunted abandoned places in Michigan. Number 1. Belle Isle Zoo. Hidden on Detroit's Belle Isle, the abandoned Belle Isle Zoo has become one of Michigan's most chilling and unsettling places. Once a lively zoo filled with families, laughter, and exotic animals, it now stands in eerie silence. Overgrown pathways, crumbling cages, and moss-covered enclosures give the entire place a ghostly presence, as though nature itself is reclaiming the land. Visitors say the air feels heavy, and even in daylight, the zoo gives off an atmosphere of dread as if unseen eyes are always watching. The zoo, which closed in the early 2000s, has fueled countless ghost stories. Locals whisper that strange animal noises can still be heard at night, long after the creatures were removed. Growls, screeches, and phantom footsteps echo across the empty grounds. Some claim they've seen shadowy figures moving through the cages, while others describe ghostly animals pacing the enclosures as if they never left. People brave enough to explore after dark report overwhelming feelings of fear, sudden chills, and the sense of being followed. Paranormal investigators believe the energy of the thousands of animals that lived and died here has left an imprint, turning the zoo into a playground for restless spirits. Others think the sorrow of abandonment itself has drawn darker forces. The most terrifying stories include glowing eyes seen in the darkness, disembodied voices whispering near the monkey cages, and heavy footsteps stalking explorers near the reptile house. Some visitors even claim to hear children's laughter, perhaps echoes of families who once visited the zoo. What was once a place of joy has transformed into one of Detroit's most haunted landmarks. The Belle Isle Zoo is now a decaying reminder that even in abandonment, memories and spirits linger, making it one of the scariest places in Michigan. Number 2. Holy Family Orphanage. Standing like a giant shadow over Marquette, the Holy Family Orphanage is one of the most terrifying abandoned buildings in Michigan. Built in 1915, it was once meant to be a safe place for children, but its dark history turned it into a place of sorrow and fear. For decades, orphans lived here under strict, often harsh conditions. The building closed in the 1980s, but locals say the spirits of those children never left. Today, with its broken windows, peeling walls, and hollow hallways, the orphanage feels alive with something unseen. The most disturbing stories tell of children's cries that echo through the empty corridors at night. Witnesses have sworn they've heard small footsteps racing across the upper floors, as if children are still playing hide and seek in the dark. Others claim to hear faint lullabies sung by unseen voices, filling the air with a chilling sadness. One legend tells of nuns who ruled with iron discipline, and their ghostly figures are said to still roam the building. People have reported seeing shadowy women standing in the windows, watching the streets below. There are even tales of a childlike figure that appears suddenly, only to vanish when approached. Some explorers say toys have mysteriously appeared in the dust-covered rooms, as though left by ghostly hands. The basement is often described as the most haunted part, where visitors feel an overwhelming dread and sudden cold. Cameras have captured unexplained orbs and strange faces peering from the darkness. Today, the Holy Family Orphanage is remembered not only for its tragic past, but also as one of the most haunted places in Michigan. It remains a place where sorrow has seeped into the walls, leaving behind an atmosphere that continues to terrify all who dare to enter. Number 3. Prehistoric Forest Amusement Park. Deep in the Irish hills of Michigan lies the eerie remains of the Prehistoric Forest Amusement Park, once a quirky roadside attraction filled with giant fiberglass dinosaurs, cavemen, and jungle-themed rides. Opened in the 1960s, it was designed to thrill families and school groups, but after closing in the late 1990s, the forest swallowed it whole. Today, the crumbling statues stand covered in moss and vines, their empty eyes staring out like ancient guardians. What should be a place of childhood nostalgia has instead become one of Michigan's most unsettling and haunted abandoned sites. Locals whisper that the dinosaurs are not as lifeless as they appear. Some explorers claim to have seen the massive statues shift slightly when no one was near, as if the creatures themselves were restless. Others describe hearing heavy footsteps in the woods at night, matching the sound of something far larger than a human moving among the trees. Stranger still are the voices. Visitors often report hearing children laughing, even when the park is completely deserted. Some have followed the laughter, only to find themselves lost in the twisting paths, surrounded by the silent, towering statues. There are tales of glowing eyes staring from the darkness, sometimes from the dinosaur heads, sometimes from the forest beyond. One of the most chilling stories involves a ghostly figure of a caveman said to appear near the entrance. Witnesses describe him holding a stone club, watching silently before fading into the shadows. Others feel sudden bursts of cold air, even in summer, or sense unseen hands brushing against them. What was once a roadside family attraction is now an overgrown nightmare. The prehistoric forest stands as a haunting reminder that even places built for fun can become playgrounds for spirits, making it one of the scariest sights in Michigan. Number 4. Haven Hill. Hidden deep within Highland Recreation Area sits Haven Hill, once the lavish estate of Edsel Ford, son of Henry Ford. Built in the 1920s, this retreat was a place of elegance with grand lodges, hunting cabins, and rolling hills. But after a fire destroyed much of the estate in the 1970s, only ruins remain, slowly being reclaimed by the forest. Today, those ruins have earned a terrifying reputation as one of Michigan's most haunted abandoned places. Visitors say the land itself feels strange, as though the woods are alive with secrets. Hikers who wander too close to the crumbling stone walls often report hearing faint voices echoing in the trees, as if ghostly gatherings still take place. Some claim to hear music drifting through the woods, old jazz and swing tunes, like the kind played during the Ford family's glamorous parties. The music fades as quickly as it begins, leaving only silence. Others have told chilling tales of shadowy figures walking among the ruins at night. These apparitions are often dressed in 1920s clothing, silently reenacting long-forgotten evenings. Some believe Edsel Ford himself still wanders the estate, unable to let go of the retreat he loved so much. Even scarier are the reports of strange lights appearing in the woods, glowing orbs that follow hikers and vanish when approached. People describe sudden temperature drops, unexplained footsteps crunching in the leaves, and feelings of being watched. The ruins of Haven Hill are not just crumbling stone, they are soaked in history, tragedy, and lingering energy from the past. What was once a place of wealth and joy has become a realm of shadows and whispers, making Haven Hill one of the most haunted and unnerving places in Michigan. Number 5. Fayette, Ghost Town. On the shores of Lake Michigan's Garden Peninsula lies Fayette Ghost Town, a once bustling 19th century iron smelting village that now stands frozen in time. Founded in the 1860s, Fayette was home to hundreds of workers and their families, but when the iron industry collapsed in the 1890s, the town was abandoned almost overnight. Today, the preserved buildings, empty homes, and silent streets make it one of the most haunted and eeriest ghost towns in Michigan. Visitors walking through Fayette often describe an overwhelming sense of being watched. Shadows are said to move across the old hotel windows, even when no one is inside. Some claim to see figures dressed in soot-covered clothing wandering near the furnace stacks, as if workers are still carrying out their endless shifts. The clang of hammers and the roar of long-dead furnaces are sometimes heard echoing in the night air, despite the smelters being cold for more than a century. One of the most chilling stories comes from the cemetery on the edge of town. Faint whispers and the cries of children have been reported, believed to be the voices of families who endured harsh lives in this remote settlement. Guests also claim to feel sudden cold spots, even on warm summer days, particularly near the superintendent's house, where angry spirits are said to linger. Fishermen along the nearby waters tell of ghostly lanterns appearing along the shoreline, bobbing in the darkness before vanishing without a trace. Some believe these lights belong to the spirits of men who perished in tragic accidents at the furnaces. Fayette Ghost Town is more than just a historic site. It is a place where echoes of the past still walk the streets. Its haunted reputation makes it one of Michigan's scariest abandoned places, where history and spirits remain forever intertwined. Number 6. Northville Psychiatric Hospital. Northville Psychiatric Hospital, once one of Michigan's largest mental institutions, now stands in eerie ruin, a decaying reminder of a troubled past. Opened in the 1950s and shut down in 2003, the hospital's massive campus has been left to rot, with collapsing walls, endless hallways, and underground tunnels that stretch into darkness. While it was built with modern ideas for treatment at the time, stories of mistreatment, overcrowding, and suffering quickly grew, and many believe that energy never left. Today, it is considered one of the most haunted and terrifying abandoned places in Michigan. Explorers who dare to enter the crumbling hospital report voices echoing through the halls, calling names or whispering in tones that send chills down the spine. In the tunnels beneath the building, footsteps are often heard following closely, though no one is there. Some investigators claim to have recorded screams and sobbing believed to be the cries of former patients who endured years of pain. Shadowy figures are often seen darting across doorways or standing silently at the end of long corridors. One of the most terrifying tales involves a figure in a hospital gown, said to appear suddenly in the patient wards before vanishing into thin air. Others speak of icy touches on their shoulders and the feeling of being dragged backward by unseen hands. The hospital grounds are no less unsettling. Strange lights appear in windows at night, even though there's no electricity. Locals driving by have reported seeing faces staring out from the broken glass. Many believe the spirits of patients remain trapped, reliving their confinement. Northville Psychiatric Hospital is more than just an abandoned building. It is a place heavy with sorrow, fear, and restless spirits, making it one of Michigan's most haunted landmarks where the past refuses to fade. Number 7. Grande Ballroom. In the heart of Detroit stands the Grande Ballroom, a once thriving music venue that pulsed with life in the 1960s and 70s. Legendary rock bands like Led Zeppelin, The Who, and MC5 once shook its walls, and for a time it was the city's crown jewel of counterculture. But when the music faded and the doors closed in the late 1970s, the building was left to decay. Today, its crumbling plaster, silent stage, and graffiti-covered walls carry a much darker reputation as one of Michigan's most haunted abandoned places. Visitors say the Grande never truly went quiet. Many have reported hearing faint echoes of music drifting through the empty ballroom, as if ghostly concerts are still playing to an invisible crowd. Drums pound, guitars hum, and applause rises, only to vanish into silence the moment someone steps inside. Paranormal investigators claim these are residual hauntings, echoes of unforgettable nights trapped in the building's bones. But not all the stories are nostalgic. Some explorers have encountered darker forces. Shadowy figures are said to linger near the stage, watching from the corners. Strange whispers have been heard in the stairwells, and people often feel sudden drops in temperature, as if an unseen presence is brushing past. There are accounts of heavy doors slamming on their own, and of cold hands grabbing at intruders in the balcony. One of the most frightening tales involves a figure dressed in 1970s clothing, often seen leaning against the walls with a cigarette. Witnesses say he appears solid at first, until he slowly fades into nothing. Others believe the building holds restless spirits not of musicians, but of those who died in Detroit's turbulent past. The Grande Ballroom may be silent to the living, but to the dead, the show never ended. Number 8. Calumet Air Force Station. High in Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula, hidden among dense woods and rolling hills, sits the abandoned Calumet Air Force Station. Built during the Cold War, this radar base once guarded American skies, watching for threats from above. It closed in the 1980s, leaving behind barracks, radar towers, and crumbling buildings now overtaken by silence and decay. But locals insist the silence is deceptive. They believe the base is haunted making it one of Michigan's scariest forgotten sites. Strange activity is often reported around the radar tower, where explorers claim to hear mechanical humming, even though the equipment has been dead for decades. Some have even seen the massive radar dish glow faintly at night, as if still tracking invisible planes. Military ghosts are said to wander the grounds, dressed in old uniforms, patrolling their posts long after duty ended. Inside the barracks, eerie footsteps echo in empty hallways, and doors slam shut with no wind. Some visitors have described hearing radio chatter, distorted voices calling out codes or warnings that fade into static. Others have seen shadowy figures moving across the windows, only to find the rooms empty. One terrifying story tells of a ghostly airman who appears near the control room, his face pale and expressionless, staring at intruders before disappearing into the darkness. There are also reports of sudden temperature drops and the smell of burning wires filling the air without explanation. The isolation of Calumet Air Force Station makes it even more unsettling. Surrounded by endless forest, the ruins feel cut off from the living world, a place frozen in time where the echoes of war and watchfulness linger. To this day, it remains one of Michigan's most haunted and chilling abandoned military sites. Number 9. Sugar Loaf Ski Lodge. In the quiet stretches of Leelanau County sits the abandoned Sugar Loaf Ski Lodge, once one of Michigan's most popular winter resorts. For decades, families, tourists, and locals filled its slopes, laughter echoing across the snow. But after its closure in the early 2000s, the once vibrant lodge became a decaying shell, surrounded by silence and whispers of something far darker. Today, it is feared as one of Michigan's most haunted and unsettling abandoned places. Those who venture near the crumbling lodge often describe an uneasy atmosphere, as though the mountain itself holds secrets. The empty ski lifts sway in the wind, creaking as if carrying invisible riders. Some claim to see shadowy figures gliding down the slopes at night, leaving no tracks in the snow. Others have spotted lights flickering in the windows of the boarded-up lodge, even though the building has no power. Inside, the air feels heavy and cold. Paranormal investigators have recorded voices calling out from the darkness, sometimes in cheerful tones, like echoes of past guests, other times in whispers filled with warning. Strange thuds, phantom footsteps, and slamming doors have startled many who dared to enter. There are even stories of ghostly skiers appearing in the hallways, dripping with melting snow, vanishing before reaching the exit. One of the most chilling legends speaks of a lone figure seen near the top of the hill, a skier dressed in outdated gear, who stares silently before dissolving into the night air. Some believe he is the spirit of someone who met a tragic end on the slopes. The Sugar Loaf Ski Lodge now stands as a haunting reminder of joy turned to decay. With its eerie atmosphere and ghostly tales, it remains one of Michigan's scariest abandoned landmarks. Number 10. St. Margaret Mary Church. St. Margaret Mary Church in Detroit is often called one of the most unsettling abandoned churches in Michigan, a place where silence feels alive and every corner seems to breathe with secrets from the past. Built to serve a once thriving neighborhood, the church was a hub of weddings, funerals, and Sunday gatherings. But when the community dwindled, the grand brick building was left behind, its pews collecting dust, its stained glass windows shattered by time and vandals. What remains now is a hollow shell, yet many say the church refuses to stay empty. Visitors who dare to step inside report hearing the faint sound of a choir singing hymns, even though the choir loft has collapsed and no instruments remain. Some claim the organ plays a single low note at night, echoing through the ruins like a warning. Paranormal explorers describe heavy footsteps following them down the aisles, only to find no one there. Others have captured strange figures in photographs, shadowy shapes near the altar, or glowing outlines seated where worshippers once prayed. The most chilling tale comes from locals who believe the church is cursed, saying the spirits of those who were baptized or buried from its walls still linger, searching for unfinished peace. A few have even seen a spectral priest standing at the altar, arms raised in blessing, his face pale and glowing before vanishing into darkness. St. Margaret Mary is not just abandoned. It feels alive and it's haunting, making it one of Detroit's most terrifying forgotten places.